to go ahead and continue. And it's my pleasure to introduce my former student, Dylan Bockholt, who's going to talk today about his design career. He graduated from CSM in 2022, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. With a bachelor's degree in graphic design, with an A in graphic design. And he's currently a student at San Francisco State in their visual communications design program. So please help me welcome Dylan.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much for having me. It's so exciting to be here on my old stomping grounds. This is where it all started for me as well, 10163. Hi everyone, I'm Dylan. I am a CSM digital media graduate. I graduated last May, part of the Centennial class of 2022. I'm now currently at the San Francisco State University School of Design, working on the Bachelor of Science in Visual Communication Design. My expected graduation currently is next May 2024. And besides freelance projects, I also work, I work on freelance projects outside of classwork. You sometimes get the two mixed up when you're doing both at the same time. So it looks like a lot of text, just throw it around really quick. My own statement, I've loved working on projects since I was about 8 years old. I loved creating fake movie posters and like if my family was having a dinner, I'd kind of write up or like do a little menu on Word. I found it to be very, just very kind of like a fun side project to do. Design didn't really become an integral part of my career until 2017 when I did a class at San Mateo High School, which was the Art and Multimedia class, which I think is now called Media Arts. It exposed me to Adobe Creative Suite and applications like Photoshop and Illustrator, and from that point on it really got me interested in wanting to learn more and really pursue design in college. Many of the pieces that I do are inspired by pop and instrumental music. I find that when I'm listening to the music, it kind of creates an overall atmosphere and emotion and engagement that I want from my audience when making my work. I also have a lot of appreciation for some of the historical design movements and styles, like Swiss style, Bauhaus. Their use of strong form and type and layout have really been the most influential for my design aesthetic when I'm working on my projects. Josef Müller-Brockmann, who was a Swiss style graphic designer, worked on the grid system, which was still a very influential foundational tool used today for designers. And so what I like about it is how, learning about the history of design and how it still provides many cutting edge ideas and visual inspirations for the future. I'm also hoping to be an inspiration for the next generation, so hopefully for all of you here today. Also pulling a quote from Josef, what I try to achieve in my work is to communicate information about an idea, event, or product as clearly as possible. Such down-to-earth presentation is barely affected by present-day trends. And I really take this quote to heart because you can go beyond being trendy and really create something that would really resonate with an audience, and really no matter the context or how they may come to view the work, it's still going to be very impactful. So just a quick little overview, kind of what I'm going to be going over today. My time and experience at CSM and my takeaways, some transferring tips for you all, the SF State School of Design and how that's going, a couple of my projects from State, some portfolio tips, freelance tips, and then some closing comments. So my time and experience here at CSM was amazing. I started in fall of 2019. I just graduated from San Mateo High School with the Art Certificate in Visual Arts. And during my time here from 2019 to 2022, I was taking in-person and online courses. In 2021, I got the opportunity to work as an instructional aide for the digital media department. So I got to work over in 161 in the media room, checking out equipment, answering software questions for students. And this really got me a chance to not only work really with graphic design related technology and software, but I also got to work with people who needed microphones, cameras, video sets, checking out equipment, One of the biggest things actually was trying to find a new checkout and reservation system for our equipment that we have on campus. And also just, you know, kind of learning about all the other digital media disciplines and the other softwares that they use. So GarageBand, there's a lot there. You know, working with the studios, having studios open for people who need them. Just some photos, some of the stuff I worked on. There's me in the equipment room. There's me in 161 in that little back room that they have there. So that's like one of the coolest things, I think, is have a little room inside of the room. For the video kits, I got to work on a new tag card to for an visual identification system for people who check out the cards. Maybe it's their first time checking out a video kit. And so this was really fun to kind of create, just to create a little key card that would be easy for everyone to understand, whether if you're a beginner or if you're advanced and you don't really know what's in the bag, what should be in it when you return it. Below it was a poster I actually got to make for a professor within the digital media department, Jane Jackson, which was for her piano literature and performance class. And that was really fun to do. It was kind of a mix of eclectic work because you're kind of looking at music from 20th century and also looking into music today and the future. So I found that to be a very fun project. In spring of 2022, it was very exciting. I was presented with the opportunity to actually also be an intern and a part-time designer with the marketing department here on campus, with David McLean, Jonathan Wax, all those people on floor 4. It was very exciting. I got to create and work on a lot of projects. So some of the projects included projects for the digital monitors that you see all around campus, especially here in Building 10. I got to do some work for their social media posts, Instagram stories, and update the weekly athletics signage that you see. So for upcoming sports events, or if like a team were to win, or if they're going to a state championship, or things like that. One of the most influential works I did was I got to do the main direction on the study abroad program work. These were for the digital monitor, social media, and Instagram squares. It was very fun working with the study abroad and to create something new kind of outside the style guide that you have to work with in the marketing department. And so they were very satisfied, and I'm very happy with this. And I have the other destinations as well in my proposal site. If you want to ask that during the Q&A, I can show you that. I also got to work with Vera and the Zoetic Tapestry Society for the Flora and Fauna Spring Show, which was last spring. That was a lot of fun as well. I got to kind of work and create a visual identity for the digital media department show, and it was really fun. And then in May 2022, I graduated magna cum laude, with still working in the marketing department through the summer. And there's me with President Jennifer Taylor Mendoza. So, moving on now from CSM. So some transferring tips. This is good if you're looking to transfer next year, maybe you've already completed your transfer work. So make sure to complete your Cal State Apply on time. This is super important, especially come this fall. Make sure to get all that filled out, because if you don't, you'll basically miss it, and they won't really accept late applications. Make sure to keep up to date on the dates. This is also important because you'll need to update your grades for the year that you're applying. So when you have, when you do your fall semester after when you apply in January or so, you'll need to update your grades in Cal State Apply for that semester. And then come spring, you'll need to make sure to submit your transcripts for that spring semester and update the grades in Cal State Apply as well. And then finally, the final transcripts and everything should be done around July for SF State. So attend or keep up to date anything that has to do with transfer students at SFSU. So sometimes these things and dates can change, events, dates, and this is really important, especially for orientation, because with orientation on campus, you have to not only know when the dates are, but you actually have to sign up for the orientation. It could be in person, it could be online. There's many options, but you want to make sure that you know the dates when you can start filling out the paperwork to then register for an orientation date that you want. Attend online and in-person events on campus. especially with the school design. They do welcome Explore SF State, which is usually in April, which I think they actually just had. This was a great way to meet the school design. They had a little table, got to see some of the work from both ID and BizCom majors. I got to actually talk right with the director, which was pretty cool, and a lot of the main faculty, and get a lot of my questions answered and go to the Fine Arts building and see the school design. So if you receive any email in your portal, your SF State email, if you've decided, oh, I'm gonna go to SF State. If you see any email or a Zoom with anything with the words transfer and school design in it, you should absolutely attend it. This is gonna be super important because it's gonna have great information on orientation, classes, how to exactly enroll in the classes, what the school design is about, their goal, the classes, get any other questions you might have answered. But what's really important to know is from the SFSU School Bulletin, at the time of admission, there is no special permissions or requirements really, or applications or even portfolios, but you must complete undergraduate level courses at SFSU or another institution. But you must complete the foundation courses, DES 200 and 222 with a grade C or better. And these can be substituted with classes from here, but I will get into more reasoning with that later. Although the portfolio and things like that is not required, it's definitely recommended to have in your own toolbox for other opportunities for internships and other scholarly programs throughout your first year. So this is the school design. It's a school located within the College of Liberal and Creative Arts. So you'll have SFSU Liberal Creative Arts School Design. It offers 2 bachelor degree programs, 1 MA degree, and 1 minor program. And it's also in partner with the SF State Scholars 4+1 program, which is where you can actually apply as a junior and possibly actually have an integration of graduate level programs and get done with your master's in 1 year, which is really exciting. Very cool that they offer that. So that way you only have to pay for 1 year of graduate tuition. And it's mainly within the Fine Arts building on campus. So just some contact and information, design@sfsu.edu if you have an email if you have any questions. The director there is Mary Hulick. She's wonderful. You'll actually be taking a class with her the first semester. It's a required course by the School of Design. The graduate studies coordinator is Dr. Chu. She's wonderful as well. She absolutely loves learning. She's always so enthusiastic about the school design. She's so wonderful to talk to. She'll definitely be hosting some of the welcome meetings and Zooms that you would be attending over the summer while introducing the school design. So the programs within the DES program. So DES is kind of the acronym for design. So at school, so here you have DGME for digital media. So on SFSU campus, it's DES. So they offer the Bachelor of Science in Visual Communication Design or BizCom. The BS in Industrial Design, which is ID, as we all like to call each other on campus. They do offer a Master of Arts in Design and a minor in Design as well. So to get in a little bit more further detail about the Visual Communication Design program, as that's the one more focused around graphic design, this is the program I'm currently taking myself. It is a 2-year program. It's usually taken during your junior and senior years of college, as they are mostly upper division classes, level 300 or above. They require upper division general ed courses and SF State Studies courses, and you'll learn more about these in your orientation. But it's really important to know that you will still need to take some upper division general ed courses. A lot of students didn't really think that those were a necessity, but with the UD GED programs and classes, there's a lot you can do to actually get a lot of them done within 1 to 2 classes, and so that way you can focus on design. The prior foundation classes, DES 200 and 222, which I noted before, those I recommend taking at SFSU. I found those to be a great way to hone your skills from CSM and build on your portfolio. They're mainly fall and spring classes. They're very, a lot of the stuff you do can't really be done in a summer or winter course. And there is a laptop requirement, meaning that with the programs you'll be working with and the projects you'll need to do, you'll need to be able to have a laptop that can handle these projects. I thought my laptop was pretty up to date with RAM and storage size, and I'm running that thing hot all the time. So it's very important to also learn, and they'll send all this to you in the welcome letter. So just to kind of give you an idea, this is kind of the 4th semester outline of your classes. So this would be your 2 years at SF State. So you'll kind of see, you'll have DES 200, 222, that can sometimes be taken in your first semester, which again, these can be substituted, but which I do recommend taking at SF State. Then you'll be taking, history of design. So if anyone's taking history of design with Nico right now, you're going to go way into depth on like industrial design, history of like everything that has to do with design. It's a great class. And some beginner courses, school design introduction, that's with Director Healy, who we'll be talking about that stuff. With school design, how to get an advising appointment, how to look for internships, how to get an internship through the school design for credits. And then your later semesters are going to be the much more higher division courses, and along with DES majors. Major electives. So they offer a lot of elective options. One of the ones I'm very excited for that I will be taking next semester is they offer a modern letterpress printing class. So you'll actually get to work with a letterpress printer on campus and also learn both the traditional and digital techniques of typography. So just some photos from the school. Here, these are some works done. This is kind of like the remake project from 216 a little bit that this program offers. It's just a fun little spoof and like kind of a remake on famous posters, movie posters. They have the design space. This is kind of a gallery and classroom. So what's really cool about this is how this class actually, being a gallery as well, offers the chance for the elective of the design gallery exhibitions class, which is where you get to learn about gallery creation, wayfinding signage design, critiquing, analysis of creating a gallery space. 153, room 153 is kind of like the chill design space, kind of like a free room to kind of work on projects, get things printed, 3D printers, so it's stuff for both industrial and visual communication design majors. There's a place for prototyping. One of the crazy things I saw actually just in there recently was someone built a full-on chair that you could actually sit in, so I thought that was pretty wild. And then through the school, through the hallways, there's a lot of R words on the ceiling. This was done by one of the professors. I couldn't really get an exact name for what this project was called, but it has a lot of the word with re, and because it always has to do with design and how design has to do with iteration. You're always rethinking and always trying to do something new. So now I'm actually going to jump into one of my SF State projects that I actually just did this past few months to kind of give you guys an idea of what would kind of go into a project. And this is also a great exploration of not only the projects at SF State, but also how to really present like a process, so the process of a project. As you get into higher level courses, they're really going to be looking for the process, how you started and how you ended, and everything in between. So you'll have usually a statement for this project. So this project I'm presenting to you guys today is a project that was to create a reductive icon system for a wayfinding signage piece at a hardware store. So kind of talking a little bit about how, and how the statement follows the brief, how it answers the overall question of, how would this be helpful in a hardware store, ultimately kind of pitching to your client and your overall process. So just to kind of run through these really quick, it all started out with photographs of some household hardware tools, which then became kind of like, okay, so I have some photos of these a little bit dynamic compositions to work from. Got some first drawings, tracing paper from printed photos, and then did some freehand sketches as well. And then with iteration, I actually went back and got full photos of each tool to get full idea of proportions and scale and shadows And I found these to also be the most helpful in really creating clear icons that would be used in a hardware store. So once again, kind of iteration, more tracings, sketches, did them on graph paper for proportions, and then you start doing them through with markers to really get those highlights and to really try to start reducing to a simpler format and presentation of each tool. And so you can kind of see here as we go, ultimately led to now being an illustrator and becoming vectorized icons, which can be used in signage. And so this is a lot of pages. These process decks will usually be about 40 pages or so, but they really want to present your overall process. So this is overall type exploration, which and composition exploration for the signage. So, you know, playing with scale, direction, typography, letter forms, you know, it's super important to have that exploration just to get everything out and just try everything. And so with these examples, you know, I was asked, there was asked to only use specific typefaces, and so I wanted to explore with each one and get an idea of how I'd want to move forward for my finals. So here's some of the composition work that then starting to, you know, focusing on a typeface, so with no bell. And then some first icon lockups. A lockup is where you have text in an icon or image that is locked proportionately, so when it's scaled, it'll still be in relative proportions to each other and spacing. First color palette lockup iterations, so, you know, kind of presenting, okay, so like, you know, the Pantone colors, hex codes, RGB codes, you want to make sure all those are there. Your font, your weight choice, your size choice. And also just kind of, you know, showing the first iterations of what you had for your project. And so here it is at school, up on the wall with other students, getting some feedback. What ultimately led, we're getting a lot of post-it notes, fly around during the critiques. It's honestly kind of fun, and I love how they're all different colors, and they all go everywhere. And so which ultimately led to my final color palette and type choice, which led to my final lockups for my hardware store, which was secure, grasp, and tighten. So these would be signs that you'd see for like an aisle or like a specific section of the store. And another challenge as well was to create compositions actually in a square for a social media post. And so that was also an interesting challenge, as a lot of my tools were vertical, have a linear style and composition. So this was actually a very fun project to do. It had a good challenge. And yeah, and then, you know, just, you know, want to finish up your process decks with just nice thematics, you know, kind of overall tying together your project, and then ultimately you'll have something really good to post for your portfolio. And with that, I'm also going to show off a project that's actually on display in the library as well. This was my fall 2022 final project for my visual design literacy class. This was a very fun project to do. Let's see. So this was a lot of fun in class. The overall project was to design logos for a client. And what made this project really fun was that the client was actually a classmate. And so what we did was we all made our own briefs for a project, kind of like an idea of what we wanted, a business, and we would trade it with a classmate. And I got my friend JoJo, and she had really great ideas. So the first one was for No Pain, No Grain, which was a gluten-free restaurant in Daly City founded by a woman with celiac disease, that you can still have burger, fries, pancakes, or pizza. No pain, no grain can make it happen. So this was a very fun project to do. Once again, like in the portfolio, just kind of displaying the overall process and iteration, color palette, type choice, starting off, you know, thinking, okay, so no pain, no grain. So it's kind of like a play on no pain, no gain. And kind of working, you know, how I can add strength, or I can also incorporate, you know, wheat and grains into this overall piece. One of my first iterations was actually a loaf of bread doing barbells. Did some vectors of that, and then what ultimately led to actually really creating a logo which had pizza and burgers, kind of once again kind of showing like what the client would really emphasize, what the restaurant would be selling, but also kind of having the integration of having like gluten-free, so like the gluten-free logo as one of the pepperoni on the pizza, and really showing really showing visual weight with grasping barbells and like lifting up a heavy weight set of barbells. And so then the other project was for a sustainable shoe store in Santa Cruz, which was called Worn Again, which had their shoes and other products made out of cactus leather, plastic water bottles, and hemp fibers. And it was looking to kind of change the way we look at sustainability. So going into this project, kind of starting off with like actual shoe, like doing a lot of like just visual representation, just obvious representation, kind of thinking more of, okay, so, focus on sustainability, maybe kind of a overall activist approach, kind of maybe thinking a little bit about climate change and kind of how, we can move forward with kind of creating a more sustainable system of products. And so you can kind of see up there, kind of started with some logos showing, once again, like pure representational style, a shoe with hemp fibers, cactus, and water bottles, but which ultimately led to actually having a footprint, and having a footprint made with the materials that make up the shoe. And so this was a really fun project to do. It got me way out of my comfort zone. Being in DGME 216 here, logos were not really my thing, and so this was definitely a really fun project to actually really hone in my skills on logo projects and work on stuff for that. And so once again, kind of just displaying a color palette, just kind of like what your ideas was, kind of it being a coastal city, and kind of having, a lot of foresty surroundings, working with more blues and greens. And another big thing too, which I'll bring up in my portfolio tips, is also just having some mock-ups. This is, I have some good resources for mock-ups if you all would like to know during the Q&A. But so just kind of displaying the logo, how it would be actually in a physical representation. So like a shoe box if you were to get a pair of shoes, a t-shirt if you wanted, sport the store, or a bag if you were buying a lot of merchandise. And then as well as like a signage, like if it were to go on like a piece of glass, a lot of the stores in Santa Cruz, a lot of window shopping. So a great way to kind of display that was with a mock-up that was able to show how it would be if it was like a big sticker placed on a window and you can see through to the store. And some final logo iterations. And then also to go back to No Pain, No Grain, also just kind of showing some mock-ups as well. You really want to show your logo in action. This is super important, kind of showing the versatility as well as the usability of your logo. So kind of showing again here how it would be on a sign, and how, if you had a sign that was, maybe a dark background, how you could use a lighter color in the color palette to have high contrast and have it be easily visible. Okay, so portfolio tips for all of you. This is going to be really good. So begin looking into or starting a portfolio site to house all of your work on the internet. Everything today is pretty much internet-based, driven, and so it's really important that you want to make sure that you have a place to store your work besides Instagram or a Facebook page. I found Adobe Portfolio to have been really good for being a student and a freelance, like a starting freelancer. I use Adobe Portfolio. A great way. You can use it for the ART 200 class here on campus as well when you start working into your portfolio stuff. For any project, throw it on a mock-up and add them into your process deck or your project presentation. This is really, once again, going to show overall usability and versatility of your logos and other works or posters or whatever they may be. Work on writing and curating your work into a story. So not only with writing or design, it's mostly a visual discipline, but you'll also want to make sure that you can write and answer why and answer your design choices, because this is going to be a leading factor, especially going into state. You're going to be asked why a lot. And you'll want to just start working on answering that why of why did you choose this typeface, why did you choose this color palette. Working on creating process decks, like maybe one of the projects you're working on now, if you're posting them to Flickr or anything like that, one of the things I recommend just take some time, set up a little Google slide, just do like 5 slides of your sketches, iterations, first digital drafts, and then your final and maybe a mock-up. This will be a great way to start practicing for those process decks when you get into state, and you'll already kind of have an idea of how it will be when you come to present your final projects. Document and scan everything, so sketches, screenshots of resources, images, mood boards, your overall, your Illustrator page screenshot. This will be super good in documenting your process. The process is ultimately the most important thing that you can have for your project. And then although people will be looking at your work, what will draw them to hiring you is how you can do your presentation of your process, both visually and in writing. So you can have a great visual project, that is one thing, but it's another thing too when you can actually demonstrate and show with confidence your design choices and your process and why the choices you made were right for the client. Also as well, have an about section to hold your statement and bio, and then present your resume. That's always really good too on your site. And it's also good to have like your own portfolio, have a resume that you can send as a PDF through emails. It's also kind of just nice that you just make the space for a resume on your website. So some freelance work tips. I'm actually currently working on some freelance projects outside of my classes, and I found these to be very great, and I hope these will also be very helpful for you if you decide to do some freelance work. So one of the best things I can recommend is just getting the word out. Talk to friends, maybe talk to your professor, go on LinkedIn, just let people know, go on Facebook, Instagram, hey, looking to just start doing some projects, some graphic design projects for my portfolio. Just getting the word out, talking to friends, it'll eventually start snowballing into letting a friend know, working for your friend, and then that friend recommending you to other clients, which has been my experience, and it's definitely very rewarding, but the first thing you gotta do is get the word out. You gotta let people know. Have a portfolio link that you can easily message to people and post to social media, also really good. Something you can message just like texting, or you can post like in your bio on Instagram. This will help for easy accessibility to your work and your resume and your statement, and to let people know that you are looking for work. Have some sort of visual branding identity to help with association and retention of information. So you can go up to a person and say, I'm looking to do graphic design work, and that's great, but they won't have a visual association with you, like a logo or something like that. So I actually still use mine from 216, boop, my initial logo, which I still use, which has been it's been a major help with association and visual retention when working with clients. Have links to your LinkedIn and other sites, so like Behance or any other sites that you may have related to design or things like that, or work. So links to your LinkedIn for also being able to connect. Negotiate with your clients. This is so important because not only will you be looking at overall scope of the project, but also compensation, overall just brief and things like that, and what you both want to get from it, because it is a two-sided deal when you're working with freelance projects. So do not do design for free or exposure, as they say now. Don't do that. We are way past that, especially as college students. We are way past doing design for free. It's the only time I would say if it was like for free, for sakes, if you're doing like something like an internship. But that will actually be able to go on your resume, it'll be credible, but don't do it for free. We're kind of past like, oh, well, I know Photoshop and I made this little project, and you can have it. We're kind of past that, and my friend says the same thing too. Just no, we're past free design. Make sure when you're negotiating with your client that you get written or text confirmation of the project and compensation that you decided on. So this can be a photo, a screenshot, screenshot, like if you're just texting through like Messenger, WhatsApp, iMessage, just have something to show that you've both decided on the project and compensation, and how you will go moving forward. Work on creating a formal contract of your services. So this is actually something I'm still working on, but it's good to kind of have something that'd be easy for you as well to fill out for a client to then send to them for a contract, and then they can sign and get back to you. And it would also be a lot more clear on your terms and pricing and everything like that. And so you don't have to do it all by yourself. There's so many sources out there, like 99 Designs, Bridgegood, Upwork, Fiverr, that actually can help kind of bridge clients and designers. So let's see. So 99 Designs by Vista, this is like a really great site. I have yet to still apply. One of the things with 99 Designs, being a designer for them, is there's an application process, and you're only allowed to apply twice. So if you have an application and it may be, you may receive it back, not really admitted yet, you can send it in a second time, but after that you will no longer be considered. No more applications after that. Another place you could, is Bridgegood, and has Bridgegood done like presentations on campus? Okay, yeah. So they're another great site as well. Kind of bridging. They're a nonprofit, so they're working with students to help also get clients and start building up portfolios. So you can get some paid work through that. And it's also Bridgegood's also just a good source for with their open labs to get feedback on your work. I found that to be the best way to get my critiquing skills like sharpened, is through the Bridgegood open labs. But they do have stuff for paid work, which is great. And then other, like kind of more just freelance hosting sites, Upwork, and Fiverr. And I know Fiverr's kind of always been like a controversial kind of design freelance site, but I believe right now just having a place just to maybe have them host it for you and get the client to you, and they can also figure out a lot of the payments and contracts, and so, and there's totally nothing wrong with starting on Fiverr. Maybe you just want to start small, and that's totally doable, and so all those are great resources to get started. So some closing comments. Get your applications in on time for your Cal State Apply, as well as any course substitution forms for SF State. So like those 200 or 222 classes, if you want to. For me, I would recommend taking the 200, 222 classes, but make sure everything gets in on time, and you'll get updates on those due dates. Make sure to attend school design meetings and welcomes to kind of just also get ready for when you come in the fall. You'll kind of already have like an understanding and like ready like what to expect. Work on a portfolio site. Start one if you haven't yet, or send it off to someone for some feedback, and even potential clients. That's one of the best things you can do, is just getting the word out, getting your portfolio out there, and showing it, and for feedback, and also and then clients. The work and projects you're working on right now here at CSM, they are going to help you so much with your state projects. The skills you learn here, they have helped me tremendously hone in the skills at SF State and really create really good projects. So the classes you're all taking here with Vera or other DGME professors, so valuable. Like these, and also too, because you'll get feedback on starting a portfolio site, and how ultimately when you have that going into state, how then you can get also feedback from your professors there, and how you really start building a foundation. And so the stuff you do here is so influential, and it's so good. It's so good to see you guys taking these classes. These helped me a lot. And then for me, as I recommend taking the foundation classes for further in-depth learning and application of skills. Sometimes it's a good, and it's like one of the other classes, DES 322, it's like a super intensive InDesign class, which is really good for already knowing from the 230 class here on campus, but also you'll get to go in a lot further, creating full-on booklets. So like I said again, what you're doing here is so good. Like you're getting a lot of practice in portfolio building projects. It's really great. So finally, just have fun. Don't forget to have fun. we're all designers, and that should always be the main focus. Take it one step at a time. It may seem like a lot on paper, or it may seem like a lot, doing applications and then working on a portfolio and projects. Just take it one step at a time. It'll start snowballing, and you'll eventually get to where you want to go. Give yourself breaks. As designers, especially for me now being in university, I get super tunnel vision working on my projects, and so I can just get so focused and then forget to give myself a break. Because I've honestly found throughout the years is if you don't give yourself a break, you'll never get one. So I think it's really important to give yourself breaks when you're working on projects, or even just in the brainstorming process, because it can just be so overwhelming. And then finally, show that it is your passion. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure being able to speak here today at CSM. I'm so glad I'm able to hopefully be an influence for all of you, and I hope to see some of you guys on campus next semester. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Doing an amazing presentation. A lot of very, very helpful tips, and I really hope that all you guys will connect with Mike, and you will connect with Dylan and other CSM alumni. And so right now we're going to have a Q&A. So please let Dylan and Mike know if you have any questions. Yeah.